it's Miss Morgan here with another maths lesson. You have all been working so hard, especially in maths, so thank you so much for all the hard work that you've been doing at home and sending it in so that we can see what you've been doing. Today we are going to be learning about sharing equally. So please can you write the short dates 13/05/2020 and the LI to share objects into equal groups. Pause the video to complete this. For today's lesson you will need your workbook, a pencil and 20 small objects or torn up pieces of paper like yesterday, but you only need that if you are in Miss Thurlow, Miss Morgan, Miss Zadie or Mrs Meta and Mrs Huth's phonics group. Now for our recap today, can you fill in the answers to these questions? Over here, what number is represented in the tens frame? What is 4 add 7? Is this bowl full or empty? There are 10 flowers in each bunch. How many flowers are there all together? So I've got 5 groups of 10. Now don't count them one by one. Let's see if you can try to count in tens. And then Miss Meta found a really fun doubling song that I thought you would like to try. So pause the video to complete these activities. The answers are the bowl is empty, so there's nothing in there, so it is empty. 15, so here we have 5, 10 and 5, that makes 15. There are 50 flowers, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 4 add 7 equals 11. Well done if you got that right, because today it was really tricky. Now pause the video to tell your adult what you think sharing means, and what does sharing equally mean? Pause the video to complete this. Sharing is when we give something to another person. So when we are at school, we might share a pencil with our friend, but we might not give them the exact same amount that we have. I might keep more than I give to my friend, but I'm still sharing because I am giving them something. What does sharing equally mean? Sharing equally is when you split something into equal groups. Each group has the same amount and it is fair. So if I am sharing my pencils with Miss Thurlow and I have 4 pencils, if I am sharing equally, it means that I will have 2 and Miss Thurlow will have 2. We have the same amount. So here I have 6 strawberries, and if I'm sharing them between me, Miss Zadie and Miss Thurlow, we will all have 2 strawberries each. That is equally sharing. Is it fair for me to keep all of these cookies for myself? How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now that's a bit greedy if I keep them all for myself. So how could I share them with Mrs. Coker? First, I would need to get a plate for Mrs. Coker and a plate for myself. And then, one way that we can share equally and not make any mistakes is do it one by one. So, 1 cookie for Mrs. Coker, 1 cookie for Miss Morgan, another cookie for Mrs. Coker, and another one for Miss Morgan. Another one for Mrs. Coker, and another one for Miss Morgan. And then we have finished sharing because we have nothing left on our plate. How many cookies do we both have? And are they equal on each plate? Pause the video to work this out. The answer is we both have 3 cookies. 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. They are equal because Mrs. Coker and Miss Morgan have the same amount of cookies. We both have 3 each, so I have shared them equally. But what if I have 5 cookies? Now let's try it again. Let's share it between me and Mrs. Coker. So 1 for Mrs. Coker, 1 for Miss Morgan, 1 for Mrs. Coker, 1 for Miss Morgan, and 1 for Mrs. Coker. But I have none left. Oh no, there are not enough for Miss Morgan to have another one. Is it equal now? No, it's unequal. You cannot share 5 cookies between 2 people because one person has 3 and another person has 2. So that's not fair, it is unequal. Now it is your turn. How can you equally share 15 muffins between Miss Zadie, Miss Thurlow and Miss Morgan? Now here's a tip. You need 3 plates. Pause the video to complete this activity. The answer is So here I have Miss Thurlow's plate, Miss Sadie's plate and my plate. Now we're going to start by giving each teacher one muffin, and then another muffin, and then another muffin, and we will keep doing this until there's nothing left. How many muffins do we each have? Have they been shared equally? And would it be equal if I gave Miss Zadie one more? Pause the video to work this out. Each teacher has 5 muffins, but let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means that they have been shared equally because we all have 5 muffins. But it would be unequal if Miss Zadie has one more because the groups would not have the same amount of muffins. If we gave Miss Zadie one more, Miss Zadie would have 6 muffins, but Miss Thurlow and Miss Morgan would only have 5. We would not have the same, so it would be unequal. Now, if you are Mrs. Coker's phonics group, this is your activity. Timmy and his friend have 4 sweets. Equally share these sweets between Timmy and his friend, and then complete the sentence. Each turtle gets something sweet. 4 shared equally between 2 is something. And then Timmy, his friend, and a seahorse have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 grapes. Equally share these grapes between Timmy and his friends. Each animal gets something grapes. 6 shared equally between 3 is something. Pause the video to complete this if you are in Mrs. Coker's group. Now, if you are in Miss Thurlow and Miss Morgan's phonics group, can you collect your 20 objects or pieces of paper? Can you share the objects or pieces of paper between 5 groups, 2 groups and 10 groups? Then complete the sentences. 20 shared equally between 5 equals something. 20 shared equally between 2 equals something. 20 shared equally between 10 equals something. Pause the video to complete this. If you are in Miss Zadie and Mrs. Meta or Miss Huth's phonics group, can you now get your 20 objects or 20 pieces of paper? And yours is very similar. Can you share the objects between 5 groups, 2 groups, 4 groups and 10 groups? Complete the sentences. 20 shared equally between 5 equals. 20 shared equally between 2 equals. 20 shared equally between 4 equals. 20 shared equally between 10 equals. Now, what happens if you try to share them between 3 groups? Pause the video to complete your activity. Here is our extension challenge. Timmy has 10 biscuits. He wants to share them equally at his party. How many people could be at the party? So, the answer is there could be 10 turtles, 1 each. There could be 5 turtles, 2 each. There could be 2 turtles with 5 each, or there could just be 1 turtle and just Timmy at the party. Well done for all of your hard work today, Year 1. And it is time for our shout-outs. Arvi has done some amazing work in maths. Great job, Arvi. And so has Tommy with making equal groups with his pencils. Brilliant work. And Reese has done some amazing doubling, working really hard on his handwriting. Well done, Reese. Remember to send your work to the Year 1 email address so that we can see what you've been doing at home. And I hope you all have a wonderful day.